complexity nowadays, scientific and also from the point of view like technical, but also it's a huge fun, like create food and create tasty food. And let's speak how we do it. Before that, like a couple of words about me. I'm R&D director at X5. X5 is retail chain. It is like Перекресток and Пятерочка brands, which you know. And I was R&D director before at Dodo Pizza, and I worked in PepsiCo and Mars and in a lot of companies. And what does R&D mean? Just like a couple of words. It translates like research and development. When you first research, you ask people in different ways, what do they like, what do they want, analyze trends and so on, and then you like develop. Develop is creating, literally. First you creating prototypes by hands, and you like feed the prototypes to people, collect feedback and so on, but we will talk later about it. So, maybe the presentation is not ideal, but we will send it to you additionally, so you will be able to also watch it. Humanity, like we are the only species on Earth who learned how to cook food. Like all animals, they eat food raw, and it means they need to process it very long time. So they spend a lot of time on like processing the food, on digesting it. We as a human, we invented that we can cook food, and thus making it more like simple to digest. It takes less time, and actually there are like science people who believe that it led us to developing our brain. It made our brain more efficient, and thus, like by learning how to cook food, we started we developed our abstract mind and a lot of like brain functions. So it's kind of cool that first person who decided to, I don't know, throw like meat to fire, it all led to developing huge complexity and to developing our brain. So by now, we like people, we can eat more or less 800,000 ingredients. We can like add to food like more or less this amount of ingredients. Spices, like vegetables, fish, meat, all the ingredients you know. So it's huge complexity, isn't it, right? You know, we need to know how to mix it, how it interacts, and so on. So thus, out of this, in modern world, we have this like profession of mine, which is R&D, which means like, as I said, researching and creating food, and also keeping in mind all the nutrition facts and all the physics, biology, chemistry, and all this science behind it. So, what I did, for example, in Dodo Pizza, like we more or less know this company, right? Last year I worked there, we changed 50% of menu totally, and we all remember it was Corona crisis, so we did it online, which was quite complicated. We researched online, I will tell you later about it. And not great presentation. We launched more than 100 products around the world. And for example, we were like preparing dough, and not many people could be appearing in our kitchen. We had kitchen laboratory, and some of them were like, you know, preparing dough through the screen, like seeing somebody was doing it. So it was fun developing all that. And we did a lot of new pizza, which you could like probably see there, and all that made through research with people. And the last one was collab with Cyberpunk. We did a cool pizza, and there was a sauce with Coca-Cola. So, briefly, how do we do it? As I told you, first we do interviews with clients, with people like you, for example, and we ask them more or less what they want. It's profound interview. Out of profound interviews, we gather some like trends and ideas, deep insights of the people. Then we create, on the basis of these insights, we create a lot of concepts, first online. What is concept? It looks like that. It's a picture of pizza, for example, right? And we just show name ingredients to people. We can show like 100 at a time. And we test which pizzas, like which products are like gain more preferences. And then by that, because people first buy food like not tasting it, they buy it through visual like idea of what they see or what they think it is. So first we test and we understand, okay, people in general like concept of pesto, they like concept of, I don't know, carbonara, whatever. Then we create prototypes, as I told you, literally like baking pizzas and feeding them to people, analyzing them, all the chemical and parameters, boring stuff. Test them. We were like also test them with people and launch pizza, for example. So I took Dodo Pizza because I worked there, but also because it's a case of a digital company, which was digital from the very beginning. It started 10 years ago in a very small city of Russia, which is called Syktyvkar, and you see the picture here. It looks not very like modern, technically, I don't know, cool. And 10 years ago, the founder went to work to McDonald's, like copied a lot of things, and launched his first pizzeria. This is a dark kitchen, no restaurant. First, it was only delivery, because he had no money to launch the restaurant, so it was only delivery at first. Now it's a huge company which operates in like 13 countries. It has more than 750 pizzerias in 260 cities of Russia. It is the fastest growing restaurant chain in the world now, and it has a lot of innovations for technical innovations. So what is the secret behind it? Of course, it's not only pizza, but the founder says that like McDonald's one day combined food and conveyor and created more like a perfect operational system. Dodo combined from the very beginning pizza, food, and IT business. So that was the secret. Dodo was created in April 2011. And already in June, like in a couple of months after that, in June 2011, Dodo already had like 2 IT people, 2 developers, who were designing the system, the IT and how it will be. Now Dodo has a lot of, I will not be like going through this complexity in numbers, but it has a lot of engineers, more than 120 IT people work inside the company. All programs and all the platforms inside the company, application and so on, written, developed, created by people inside. So it has like all the information is in the cloud. So what does it mean for us, right? It's in real time. Anytime we want to see like how Dodo is doing in Nigeria, it's open and we can open pizzeria and watch P&L, like finance of the company and how many pizzas sold and which pizza is the most favorite in Nigeria and so on. We can check like how many, I don't know how many working hours some like friend of ours works at pizzeria in St. Petersburg. So all that complexity about suppliers, about couriers, about money, payments, finance, pizzas, tracking inside pizzeria, it's all online. It's all online and in real time. So it's a huge complexity, and this picture more or less means that. So whichever part of Dodo you take, it's all automation and it's all digital. So, which also means when, for example, people like me create pizza, it first appears in IT systems and in pizzeria. Just an example, a couple of years ago we created a pizza out of 2 halves, right? You can choose like one half for like, I don't know, your mom, or like for like your dad, and the other for mom, and you can combine. Seems quite easy, but taking the complexity and difficulties in IT system, it's actually very complicated. But then you need to go to IT people and design how it will be on tracking, how like ingredients will go for tracking and so on. So all just what I wanted to say is that all decisions you make in digital company, you first think how you will design them in IT system. So to do that, it's very huge work, and it requires some leadership and ownership. Actually, it's very strong idea in Dodo that everybody is owner of their product. I think you can also apply it to yourself. So what is like actually product? What is the owner of the product? You have some value. In Dodo is, for example, value of feeding our customers, giving them tasty food, right as a price they want to, right in time if this is delivered hot and nice. And everybody has some products, some like projects they work on, let's say it like that. And this project, of course, has some metrics. So you need to know, I want to make this idea and should be successful. How do I measure success, right? I develop some metrics for that. And it has you as a product owner, so you feel responsible. You know that you are the person who's responsible for this project, and it has some team helping you. So, and IT shadows like copies the structure of the business. So whatever there is like in the real world, it is the same in IT. Also, one important thing about Dodo is a culture of small and fast experiments. Dodo innovates all the time. So when it was Corona crisis, we saw what we can sell online. In one day, we launched like coffee online. We were the first time in the country to launch coffee delivery online. And everybody was laughing at it because like waiting for coffee for 30 minutes, it's like strange, like who would do that? But it worked well, worked like fantastically well. There are a lot of people who don't have coffee machines at home, and we like gained a lot of sales and a lot of customers. And Dodo like creates, you can come anytime and say, let's launch pizza with, I don't know, whatever ingredient you invent, right? And all the people will help you to launch it, and you will fast like measure how it works. And out of that, you will either correct it, or you will say, well, not ideal experiment, or you will leave it if it's successful. And also the third point of very strong, like, performance of Dodo Pizza is like culture of openness. And it's actually radical openness. What does it mean? You can come to Dodo office anytime. I literally say that and say, I want an excursion. I want like, please show me the office. They will do it. You can, all the managers of the company, they present online their results. All the pizzerias publish their like P&L and their finances online in real time. So anytime you can go and see this pizzeria makes that amount of money, that pizzeria makes that amount of money. You can work like, you can see open backlog. It means everybody knows what everybody is doing. So all your working like progress and tasks, they are online. So actually, Dodo is open really in every way, and it's a great culture, and it helps innovate because you are very like, it also gives you a responsibility, right? Because anytime people can watch what you are doing and like give you feedback, so it creates a strong responsibility and strong results also. Of course, if you innovate very fast, if you grow very fast, and I remind you, it's the fastest growing restaurant chain in the world, right? You have a lot of fails and mistakes, and it's totally okay. Like, it also a culture of accepting these mistakes, making conclusions out of them, but still. For example, once Dodo launched TV campaign and said like, download mobile application and get pizza for free. And there were so many people downloading this application that like the system failed. It was a lot of unhappy customers. Pizzerias, all pizzerias in the world didn't work for 3 hours, which is huge loss and huge hit to reputation. Well, Dodo after that took some measures, but they talk about it openly, remembering that it's an open company, right? And also they started like testing before like campaigns and so on, but there are a lot of fails and there are mistakes, it's okay. But also you should like make some conclusions. So getting back to food, right? It was about Dodo, digital, so on. I work in food business, and I need to research, as I told you. But it was not possible to do it offline. Usually you prepare samples, you give them to people, you ask their opinions, they fill a questionnaire, you collect all the data, and you understand if it's tasty or not, how you should improve the product, how you should like prepare it. But it was not possible last year. So what we did, in-built, we put this questionnaire, which we would usually offer for people to fill, inside the application, mobile application. How it works, you receive pizza, and you receive push notification, like, could you please like evaluate tastes? Could you please help us with the taste? And you quickly like answer to 7 questions. It takes you only 20 seconds to do it. But then, I don't know if it will be working now. I don't think so. But then we collected the whole like 400,000 questionnaires all around the country, and we understood a lot of things based on this data. For example, we understood Dodo has Coca-Cola in its profile, like in a bottle, right? Classic Coca-Cola. And we understood that Coca-Cola feels more tastier in the north region of Russia, in Siberia, than in Moscow, for example. And that the same pizza can be more tasty in Vladivostok than in, I don't know, whichever city of Russia. And we also understood a lot of things like basing on math, that if we deliver hot pizza, the points, the rating of the pizza is very high. If it's cold, well, it's not high. And we tested all the products online, and as I told you, we were able to relaunch more than 50% of menu and make it more tastier for like people, and it was great achievement actually. And if we do, I worked at PepsiCo before. PepsiCo does the same, but offline. We create new drink, we create new Lipton iced tea, right? And we collect 200 people, we give them prototypes, we fill questionnaires, and we think it's enough, like 200 or 300 people to understand about the taste. So, and then PepsiCo nationwide launches a new drink based on opinions of 200 or 300 people. And we in Dota, we were able to collect 400,000 questionnaires. So it's like huge data, and it's really like makes you understand what people want, what they find tasty, and what is good for them. And we calculated it's like saved us around 775 million rubles, because each test would cost around 1 million if we do it online. And we did it, if we do it offline, and we did it online for free through our application. So we used to talk in the Dodo that we are not only tasty pizza, but also mathematically tasty pizza. And it is what we mean nowadays, that usually you need to add some tools to your profession, like my profession, which is not connected anyhow to IT. But the modern world requires you to innovate, be flexible, and to add like IT tools to whatever you do, even if you think you are not connected to IT. Well, I moved to Благодаря now. I moved to X5, right? And we are now doing the same. Благодаря has mobile application. 10 million people in Russia use only mobile application. 80 million in the country, they visit Благодаря. It means like 2/3 more or less of the country go to Благодаря, I don't know, each week, right? So it's a huge amount of people which can give you feedback and share what is important, what is tasty, what is good for them. Like, and based on this feedback, you could create better product. So in Благодаря, we're launching the same idea of research online, but for all the products. You buy Danone yogurt, you buy, I don't know, PepsiCo drink, whatever. You have push notification, as it asks you to help with the taste, and based on that, we give it to our suppliers, based on that, the food gets better, it gets tastier, using like IT and big data. I think it will be not working ideally now, but we will see it later. So, well, this is more or less it. We have some time for questions if you have. The main idea of this like small presentation was to show you that food is like great area to work. It's fun, it's tasty, it's cool, but at the same time it was very traditional field, which was not like changing for a long time. And now it has a lot of IT innovation and a lot of things going into it. So find the balance, innovate, create a lot of changes in your like school work, in your life, and changes, they usually mean pain. It's painful to change all the time. I work with innovations, I know that, but it also gives you a lot of pleasure to like create and see new things and create. And the second very important thing which I wanted to share probably, that IT is not part of the business. Actually, IT nowadays is the business. So amount of data you collect, amount of information you have, is actually becoming your business now, whether it should or not. Thank you. And if you have questions.
Yeah. I've got a question.
Yeah.
When you were working at Dodo and you were getting all this feedback,
yeah,
how do you then take that feedback from the customers to develop the pizza? Do you try it out in certain locations and then retest that area to see if they like the improvements? So how does that feedback get applied in real life?
That's a great question. I didn't have enough time, so I cut it. But yeah, you develop. For example, we launched last year carbonara, pizza carbonara. For the first week, we got a lot of data, and we understood that out of 7 points, our rating for the pizza is 6, which is low. And we, having all this data, we saw immediately that the problem is that with the amount of topping. So amount of topping, red flags you in the IT system already, how we designed it. We just literally, in online, we increased some bacon, like put more bacon to pizza. And next week, we see in all the pizzerias that the tasting rate came better and the zone of toppings improved. But it is existing pizza, and if it's new, we create pizza, we send URI to 10 locations, measure data from this 10 locations. If it's good, we distribute it to all pizzerias. If it's not, we measure, and so on.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last second. So if no question, you have my email there. Any questions, I don't know, in 2 years now you will have about the food, IT business, research, whatever. Feel free to write me, I will be very happy. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Ребят, спасибо большое, что пришли. Давайте я чуть расскажу. Это выступление было в рамках образовательной программы «ФудСовет». Некоторые из вас уже ходят по четвергам, по-моему, на занятия «ФудСовет». Соответственно, у нас еще будут продолжаться примерно такие же выступления.